welcome back to another episode of The Natty Teacher. I am the Natty Teacher, your host with the most, maybe not the most, but with something. Welcome back. Today, got a nice morning hamstring and glute workout for you. Got some calves as well. Maybe a little bit of abs. I did train abs yesterday, but they don't feel overly sore, so maybe a little bit more direct abdominal training. I'm still sticking with it, by the way, guys. I do my 5 rounds of at least 15 to 20 second holds for stomach vacuums every morning. I highly, highly recommend it. If you're unfamiliar with what a stomach vacuum is, look it up. It is phenomenal for what's called your transverse abdominis, which is the actual muscle that controls when you flex your abs. So training stomach vacuums, it allows you to really suck in your abs. And it actually really helps keep your midsection in check. I can honestly say it has helped me as I've started to put on more and more weight and obviously push myself into a pretty, not crazy hefty, but a decent caloric surplus here in this off-season phase. It definitely has helped me keep my waist a little bit more under control than in previous off-seasons. Highly recommend it, okay? So, for hamstrings and glutes, just as a heads up, I do always include some sort of inner thigh work, and when I say some sort, pretty much 10 times out of 10, that is going to be some adductor work. So we'll actually start our workout with that. We're going to start with the adductor. I like doing that for a couple of reasons. One, because I like kind of getting that inner thigh work out of the way, so then I can focus the rest of my attention for the entirety of the rest of the workout on my hamstrings and glutes. But two, it really just based on the range of motion helps kind of open up my hips, and open and mobile hips allow for essentially just better lower body performance. I've found. Big fan of it. So anyways, first exercise, like I said, some adductor work. The top set of that will be coming at you right about now. All right, as promised, up first, some adductor work, man. As we build our way up to the full stack, we're close. What we're really trying to focus on here, I do this first for a couple reasons. I already talked about it in my intro. One, I just really love it. I think it's a lot of fun. And two, it is awesome to get them hips opened up. Okay, get a nice squeeze and pump in the inner thighs. It feels great. And again, at the same time, we're really opening up those hips and getting that nice full range of motion. Okay, take the ego out. I see a lot of guys on the Instagram using the full stack of their machine plus a 45 and all that. That's great, and a lot of them do it for really good form. And that's my goal, is to build up to that with really good form. But until then, I'm gonna do the best form I can, squeeze out a little extra, like right there, and do what I can handle. 2 working sets here. I would keep this in that 10 to 20 rep range. Really focus on the squeeze. Speaking of the squeeze, we got some lying hamstring curls. What you'll see here is I come up out of the hole, or the fully lengthened stretch position, hard. But I control that retraction. It's hard, and then 1, 2, 3, pause. Hard up, 1, 2, 3, pause at the bottom. At least a soft pause. A lot of the reps you'll see, I'll do like a full, come to a complete full stop. Again, really focus on stretching those hamstrings out. It's a phenomenal hamstring builder. I'd say between lying and seated hamstring curl, those are like the ultimate hamstring building movements, even over RDLs, I would say, but I do both. Okay. Again, really focus on that stretch. Get that good hard contraction at the top. This is one of those exercises where I do have a tendency to try to push past my limits a little bit, push past failure a little bit. So if I got to catch my breath for a couple seconds just to squeeze out a couple more reps, I will. 3 working sets here. I would, again, with this particular exercise, recommend keeping it in that 12 to 20 or maybe even 10 to 20 rep range. I wouldn't, not that I've done it, but you won't see me doing many sets of like 6 or 8 on a lying hamstring curl. Really fill those hamstrings full of blood. Pump them as hard as you can, and go from there. Again, 3 working sets. Then, some Smith machine RDLs, okay? As weird as this may sound, this has been a much more challenging version of RDLs for me compared to like barbell even, okay? What you'll see here is I'm bringing the bar at least a decent amount below the knees, but not too much. I see way too many guys going too low, and what I like to do is I like to stop at that moment where I can feel my lower back taking over. So you'll see I push my hips and my butt and my knees back into the movement, and this isn't even really that perfect of a set. I went up, I think, a little too heavy from last week. I was doing working sets with 3 plates, and I was like, I felt a little slap happy and did, 3/4 on there. But again, cue here, push that butt back and those hips back, and also drive those knees straight back, and then drive up through with the hamstrings. Okay, 3 working sets here. This one I did, man, 2 working sets in that 7-8 rep range, and then dropped down to 3 plates, did that for, I believe, 10. Yeah. Then some, I call them Smith thrusts instead of hip thrusts, just hip thrusts on a Smith machine. Get that pad just below the hips, hip bones, drive up through, and I mean, that's kind of about it, man. You're just trying to thrust that weight up into the air, hold it for a brief moment at the top, and I like to picture really squeezing my glutes. So I physically squeeze them, but also mentally when I drive up through, I'm like, you know, squeeze, you know, really try to squeeze those glutes at the top. Control that retraction on the way down. So you'll see when I come up, I'll sit there for a sec, and then it's 1, 2, 3, hit the bottom. Okay, don't just let it drop and, you know, just drive you through the floor. Control that weight. Pretend like you're trying to set the weight down with your hips, because you are. You're not pretending. That's exactly what you're doing. Okay, 3 working sets. This one I would keep in that, again, 6 to 10 rep range. Then some glute hyper extensions. One of my favorite glute builders. This one I would recommend doing this later in a workout. Get that big, heavier stuff out of the way. Some of those core movements. This is an awesome exercise for stretching out the hamstrings, which is really nice. But at the same time, at the top of the movement, really pulling up with the glutes. I like to picture it. It's a very simple cue, and it has worked wonders for me. When I'm in that fully stretched position, like there at the bottom, I am picturing essentially trying to pinch a quarter, pinch whatever small object you want to picture here. Pinch a quarter in between your butt cheeks and pull up. Okay, I'm not pulling up with my lower back. Of course, you're going to absolutely have to pull a little bit from your lower back, but I'm not picturing that mentally. Mentally, I am picturing trying to pinch that quarter in between my butt cheeks and pull myself up with the glutes and get that good squeeze at the top. Okay, it's an awesome exercise to get a nice little glute pump. Again, I would recommend this as an exercise later in your workout, or maybe super early in your workout to kind of get the your hips and hamstrings and glutes primed. I wouldn't necessarily make this your main glute builder, put it that way. That I would definitely work with, like Smith machine hip thrusts, or barbell hip thrusts, or dumbbell hip thrusts, some sort of hip thrusting, or cable pull through type movement. Again, 2 working sets here in that 12 to 20 rep range or so. Then we went on to abductors. Okay, again, this is for that outer thigh, really, and the tie-ins to the outer portions of the glutes. Again, this is an exercise I see a lot of people use way too much weight on. Please do a full range of motion and hold in that fully lengthened position. So like right here, have that brief little hold, control the weight on the way in, and then come back out again. All you're doing is opening and closing, guys. Adductor and abductor exercises are super easy. You're just opening and closing, but do it correctly and get a good pump and squeeze, please. The only thing I didn't film here is I did do some leg press machine calves, really focusing in that stretched portion. Did 1 cluster set of just over 100 reps immediately following this, and then I did a half-hour cardio on the bike a little while ago. Do your cardio, at least most days, maybe not every day, but most days, even in the off season. I promise you it helps. Stay a little bit leaner. You ain't got to become a slob in the off season just purely because you did all your cardio and prep. Anyways, 2 working sets here. Again, I would keep this in that 12 to 20 rep range on the low end. Leg B workout complete, man. Oof. 'Twas yet another really good one. No doubt about it. Hamstrings and glutes were fried. Felt great. Felt strong. I will say on my RDLs, and I talk about it in my voiceover, I think I jumped weight a little too quickly, got a little too overconfident with that one. Jumped from like working sets at 3 plates to then like working sets at 3 plates and a quarter within a week. Still did all right. It wasn't bad, but I did feel like my lower back was playing a little bit too big of a role, so we'll clean that up next week for sure. But you live and you learn. Still got some great stimulus, so it was a win. Yeah, awesome workout, guys. With hamstrings and glutes, just a recommendation. All right, and this goes for, let's be real, this goes for every muscle group, but with very specific muscle groups, like you're really trying to train, the individual fibers of the hamstrings and really trying to focus on squeezing the glutes, you have to absolutely drop the ego, man. Again, you should be dropping the ego regardless. You should be going into the gym with an idea of what you want to lift, and if you lift more than that, great. And if you lift just that, great. And if you lift less than that, maybe you got something to fix, okay? But you should never go into the gym and be like, I'm going to just move weight and crush it. Like, look, that mindset is great, but you have to be intentional about that intensity. And with smaller muscle groups like the hamstrings and glutes, dude, the mind-muscle connection you have to form to like specifically hit the glutes is, I don't want to say impossible, but it is very tough. Okay, it is very, very tough, especially for like larger exercises. It can be very difficult. Okay, so remember, when you go into the gym, make sure that you're focused. That's why I always recommend, like, I love stims. I love caffeine. I'll have probably between 400 and 600 milligrams of caffeine every day. But pre-workout, unless I'm like gassed, like just really sleepy, I won't go above 200 milligrams. Okay, don't worry so much about having like that type feeling. Have that smooth energy, focus in, hone in, go from there. All right. So again, awesome workout. Tomorrow we got a rest day vlog, which means I'm going to pick another topic from the Natty Notebook. We're going to chat about it. And the Natty Notebook, by the way, is this little notebook I have that has, I don't know, probably the better part of, 50 to 75 different video ideas that I jotted down a couple weeks ago just to kind of start getting ideas out of my brain for these weekend videos. So needless to say, I got a lot of material. I got like a year plus worth of weekend material for you guys for the rest day vlog. So could be diet related, could be training related, could be personal life related. Who knows? Who knows? Probably will be diet or training related though. So we'll see. It'll be an exciting surprise for you. So again, I appreciate all y'all who are following along. If you have not subscribed already, make sure you do. It helps me out, makes it, ever so motivating for me to continue to pump out content on the daily. I would regardless because I love it, but it helps. Okay, it draws more traction to the channel, and when we're growing, we're going, man, and we'll keep going. So anyways, again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all following along. But for today, I am the Natty Teacher, and this summer school lesson is out. Enjoy y'all's weekend. I'll catch you on the flippity flop.